YouTube, what is going on? It's the Nail Talk 23. I'm back with another video. Before we get into the video, YouTube, I need you to hit the like, comment, and subscribe button. Turn on that post notification bell while you at it. We got another true crime video. We got the demon mom who cooked her baby. Let's get straight into it.
This jury, being duly impaneled and sworn, finds the defendant, China Arnold, guilty of the crime of aggravated murder for the death of Paris Talley on August 30th of 2005.
This is China Arnold. In 2005, she shocked the world when she put her 1-month-old in the microwave and cooked her to death. How could any person do this? It was an act so gruesome and vile. Many people didn't want to believe it, especially her friends and family.
This is racism. This is injustice.
Indeed, China Arnold microwaved her daughter, but she needed 3 long trials to get a conviction. This is the harrowing story of China Arnold and Paris Talley.
Oh, that's sick.
We're born into this world defenseless, confused, and utterly reliant on our mothers. But sadly, not everyone gets a chance at a normal, loving upbringing. It's unknown how China Arnold came to be such a reckless and desensitized human being. She was born in Dayton, Ohio on March 29, 1980. When she was 20, she was arrested for the first time. But it was no small potatoes. She was convicted of kidnapping. Then in 2002, she was arrested and convicted of forgery. It seemed like there simply wasn't interest in staying out of trouble. But then life happened, and in August of 2005, China became a mother. She was 25 years old, loved her boyfriend, and got to raise a baby daughter together with him. Perhaps this was the chance to settle down and stop the run-ins with the law. Tragically, this couldn't be any further from the truth. China and Terrell Talley lived together in a run-down apartment on Hall Avenue in Dayton. They didn't have a perfect life, nor were they perfectly ready for a child. China was a chronic alcoholic, and Terrell was a narcotics dealer and a jealous, violent alcoholic himself. The neighbors knew him for their impulsive behavior and toxic relationships, so they were quite surprised when they heard they had just had a baby. On the evening of August 29th, 2005, the young couple asked Terrell's sister to babysit Paris while they went out for a date in the park. Now it was just China, Terrell, and a Bacardi bottle. They got drunk until late at night. At first it was fun. This might have been the first time that they got to go out on a date since China had Paris. But as they got more intoxicated, they started discussing more sensitive matters, the kind that ask for a glass or 2. In fact, Terrell had planned the date and the drunkenness as an attempt to get China speaking. You see, Terrell had heard that China was cheating on him, and it was eating him on the inside. What if he wasn't Paris's father? China reassured him. She said she was sure he was the father, and she denied the rumors, but as the two packed their things and drove home, the fight only got worse. When they got home, Terrell revealed that he was in fact sleeping with their neighbor. Did he start the argument out of guilt and hoping that China was cheating on him too, or had he heard an actual rumor? Either way, Terrell pushed China to the floor and denied being Paris's father. This was a low blow for China, and the moment that would change her and her daughter's life forever.
There's one thing you need to do before you buy anything online.
I hope she ain't do that
Time on Amazon.
shit,
Watch
cause she...
this first.
Watch this. I can show you how to get the sweetest deal.
I'm gonna keep watching.
Upset, Terrell left their apartment and went to The Spot, another apartment in the building that he used to sell illegal substances. Early in the morning, Terrell came home only to find China passed out on the sofa. They'd drunk a lot, so he wasn't surprised. But before crashing himself, he checked on little Paris. She was sleeping in a car seat next to the couch. All good, he thought, and fell asleep as well. But a few hours later, he woke up and realized Paris was stiff. When he looked closer, he realized she was covered in strange burn marks. At around 7:15 a.m. on August 30th, Terrell and China rushed inside Children's Medical Center, holding their ice-cold baby. Paris had been dead for hours, but they both pretended like they didn't know this. They were pleading for the doctors to do something. As always, the doctors did, but after trying to revive Paris for 15 incredibly long minutes, they realized that nothing could be done. Paris was declared dead at just 28 days old. But the doctors had more than a few questions about this incident. First of all, why was she covered in burns? China denied ever burning her baby, but she couldn't give a logical explanation for the marks on her body. Secondly, the doctors asked the couple about the events of the night. China said she arrived at home at 2 a.m., tried to feed her daughter, and discovered that she wouldn't take in the food. Then, she put her in a bassinet and put a fan on her. In the morning, she'd realized Paris was still feeling ill, so she called Terrell to drive them to the hospital. None of this was true. Every single word out of China's mouth was a lie, and the doctors had a bad feeling about this. But when they turned to Terrell for clarification, he just burst into a fit of rage and sadness, cursing and crying about his baby daughter. Later that day, China and Terrell were arrested and taken to the police station for interrogation. At the station, both China and Terrell seemed composed and confident. They told a simple story. China arrived home at 2:30 a.m., fed Paris, changed her diapers, and slept with her on her chest. Then at some point during the night, Paris disappeared from her mother's grasp, and in the morning she found her feeling unwell. Terrell claimed he came home at around 4 a.m., slept on the couch next to China, then woke up around 7, only to find Paris stiff. The detectives knew there were details they were hiding. Neither of them talked about the burns on Paris's body, but since they weren't sure how the baby had been burnt, they couldn't make suppositions either. At the time, the coroner handling the case wasn't aware that a baby could be killed inside a microwave. The police simply didn't have enough evidence to keep the couple under arrest. China and Terrell were released. A few days after their interrogation, the couple moved home. They were this close to getting away forever. Except they left their microwave behind. In early 2006, another horrible case made the headlines in the US. A baby boy had been microwaved to death in Virginia. No one wanted to even think about this. But the investigators handling
like this
Paris
type of shit
Talley's
is like, I'm trying to just watch the video, but like this shit pissed me off. Like, how in the fuck can you sit there and put a baby in the microwave and start the shit, bro? Like, come on, bro. Like, what could be going through your head at that moment, bro? This is your fucking child. Like, that shit's sad, bro.
had a revelation. The Virginia baby seemed to have similar marks on his body. So on May 18th, 2006, the police returned to China and Terrell's old home on Hall Avenue. Inside, the detectives found their microwave. It was no pleasant task, but the police took the microwave to the lab and examined the DNA inside. Before long, they got a match. Paris Talley had been cooked inside the microwave. You see, microwaves heat from the inside out, so Paris's skin wasn't the first to burn. In fact, according to the forensic specialist, she had to have been in there for at least 2 minutes in order for her organs to fail. It takes a special kind of person to put their own baby through this. Medical examiner Dr. Markela Fierro concluded on paper she was cooked alive. On November 27th, 2006, China Arnold was finally arrested and charged with aggravated murder. She was held in Montgomery County Jail while she awaited trial. You would think trials in cases like these are over in a jiffy. What's more sinister than a mother microwaving her own baby? How long do you have to deliberate on her guilt? Well, it wasn't that easy, and the main reason was that China wasn't ready to accept responsibility. But during her time in the Montgomery County Jail, China started a relationship with her cellmate, Linda Williams. And one day, China felt like sharing the whole story. When Terrell denied being Paris's dad, China's world fell apart. She didn't want Paris to stand between her and Terrell. And if Paris was indeed someone else's daughter, Terrell would break up with China. So China put Paris in the microwave and cooked her to a crisp. That way, Terrell wouldn't have to worry about the paternity anymore. The saddest cut? A paternity test was conducted post-mortem, and Paris was Terrell's child.
My opinion is that the tested alleged father was the biological father of the child.
In China's warped reality, Terrell could forgive her for microwaving their baby, but he could never forgive her for cheating on him. Sheesh. During China's trial, Linda Williams testified against her. Linda painted a clear enough picture for the jury. It was a premeditated murder, and of the worst kind. But it wouldn't end here. When it was Terrell's time to come to the stand, he told a totally different story. He said his son, from a previous relationship, confessed to removing Paris's body from the microwave after a neighbor's child put her in there. The prosecution proved Terrell's son wasn't even in the area on August 29th, 2005, but this strange accusation was enough to cause a mistrial. China Arnold was found guilty and sentenced to death. But the trial didn't stand, and she would start from scratch with a second trial. During the second trial in 2008, a pathologist compared Paris's case to the baby boy in Virginia and explained that the burn marks are similar. Dr. William Matre from the Children's Medical Center explained that China was unbelievably unaware that Paris had burnt when she took her to the hospital that morning. When he asked China how the baby got her burns, China exclaimed, "My baby's burned?" The prosecution explained that Paris's DNA was found inside the microwave, and Linda Williams told her story once more. China had confessed to her about intentionally killing her daughter. But China's defense attorneys claimed that Linda fabricated her story and insisted that someone else was responsible for Paris's death. Then there were China's family and friends.
This is racism. This is injustice.
They simply didn't want to believe she'd done it.
This makes me think that China didn't get a fair case, because if this juror felt that way, how do we know the rest of them didn't feel this way, already had a preconceived notion that China was guilty?
In September of 2008, China Arnold was found guilty of aggravated murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. But outrageously, the trial was overturned again. This time, the court cited prosecutorial misconduct.
The defense respectfully hereby rests its case.
In May 2011, there would be a third trial. China's defense team pointed their finger at Terrell, claiming he was just as responsible for Paris's murder. And worryingly, Linda Williams recanted her statement. Now, there was no confession from China. The trial lasted longer than the other two, and it seemed like China might just get away with murder. But the prosecution stayed strong and deflected the defense team's efforts to paint China as a drunk mom who didn't know right from wrong. China knew perfectly well that putting her baby in the microwave would kill her. She wanted her baby dead, and she wanted it very badly, considering she had to be inside the microwave for at least 2 minutes. In fact, the prosecution argued that there is even more intent in killing by microwave than by gun or knife. It's slower, and it requires more steps. They could also prove that after China shoved Paris in the microwave and turned it on, she proceeded to pace around the apartment so that she wouldn't have to hear or see Paris scream in agony.
What you have is you have a defendant with no mental problems, no psychological problems, and you have a defendant with no excuses.
China Arnold was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the last time.
This jury, being duly impaneled and sworn, finds the defendant, China Arnold, guilty of the crime of aggravated murder for the death of Paris Talley on August 30th of 2005.
In September 2013, her lawyer tried to get her a fourth trial.
For what,
But
bro?
the court was done with her. Paris was buried in West Memory Garden Cemetery, Ohio. Her tiny headstone is a terrifying reminder.
It's like, as a lawyer, bro, like, how can you defend these type of cases? This girl done went through 3 trials already and was found guilty in every trial. Why would you even try to get her a 4th trial? It's no point. Like, stuff like this, like, bro, she microwaved her baby, bro. Like, she needs nothing but prison time. Oh, bro. Sad.
That there are evil people out there. People who shouldn't have kids or any innocent person in their care. Paris will forever be remembered as a person who never got the chance at life. Her own mother used her as a tool for revenge in a reckless, jealous game. Thanks for watching, you guys. What do you think about this case? Let me know down in the comment section. And before you go, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Man, that stuff like that, bro, like, it's just sad that somebody could even think of doing something like that, bro. Like, it's what it is, though. YouTube, if you rocking with the channel, leave me a like, comment what videos y'all like to see, sub, turn on that bell, catch me on the next one.